Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 9 of Multiblock Madness. I'd like to start today off by continuing the crystal growth system we built yesterday and making it more complete. So, last time we set it up such that it would grow crystals until effectively they split, and this has now resulted in a bunch of these 100 purity crystals. Well, 100 purity crystals are great and all, but we want perfect stats, right? So that's 100 purity, cutting, and size. Once we have 100 purity, though, the other two stats are relatively easy to level up. So I'm going to take this one as an example. It has 100 purity, but imperfect on the other stats. 32 cutting is the stat I'm looking at right now. If I put it on a grindstone and grind it once, that makes the cutting go up, but the size go down. And we've observed that size goes up when you throw it into a puddle of starlight. So we grind it a few times. You want to be careful not to overgrind it, because if you overgrind it, you're just taking size away for no good reason, right? And if you take size away down to 0, it destroys the item. So anyways, now we have a celestial crystal with perfect purity and cutting, but size is not perfect. So I'm going to come here, and there are 2 crystals in here. That means that this crystal has recently split, or at least it has split sometime in the past. They won't continue to absorb starlight when there's 2 of them in here. They're kind of, they want their own space. So I'm going to come in here, just dip my toes in there, pick those up, and we see that whenever it splits, you get one larger one and one smaller one. I usually put, or if I'm going to regrow them, I continue growing the smaller one, because you can't take a size 27 cutting 58 one and cut it up to 100 cutting. You break it in the process. But anyways, for now, I'm going to set both of them aside and instead take this one and throw it in here. Now, if we wait long enough for that to absorb starlight until it gets to a 900 size, then that'll be our perfect crystal. However, once it reaches 900 size, we don't want it to keep absorbing starlight, otherwise it'll break in 2 again. It'll split, and when it splits, once again we'll be left with 2 crystals, right? One with small size and one with slightly larger size, but the cutting is no longer perfect anymore. So what I want to do is, before this splits, I want to pick it up, and then the next step is to set up a system that will automatically pick it up so I don't have to. So this is perhaps the most manual part of this process, waiting for this one to get to size 900, because there's only like about a 1-minute window where you have to pick it up. If you let it absorb an extra thing of starlight, it has a chance of fracturing. As I continue to babysit the crystal, I noticed that we only produce enough RF to reasonably run one cloche. I suspect Garden Cloche RF usage has been turned up significantly in this pack's configs. So we're going to have to actually make more RF if I want to use cloches to grow our melons, or I think one cloche might just simply grow enough melons for the time being. So I think if I pull this one's dirt, it's probably easier to pull its seed. If I pull its seed, this one will stop consuming energy and I can plug everything else back in. There's an issue with, well, it's by design. If garden cloches don't have enough energy, actually if I plug it in, it'll start dying. I can just show you. The plant here will wither and die. So it'll use RF, but not do any work if it's underpowered. Like, it starts growing, but because it's underpowered, it might not make it. It might wither and die. Now it looks like this one might make it. But anyways, with that running and the squeezer and the fermenter, the cloche has a high chance of just wasting energy, but we have plenty of melons in the bank. So actually, is there an easy way to turn cloches off? They don't respond to a redstone signal, do they? Huh, turns out they do. A redstone signal on the base turns off the cloche. So we have, 4,000 melon slices. That's enough to get our system kickstarted. So I don't need to waste any more energy running that cloche. I'm thinking if we might need a slightly better energy intermediate to get us from where we are to, where's the power tab? From where we are to the diesel generator, because there's a bunch of stuff in between. Unfortunately, we can't do the steam turbine yet, because the steam turbine requires the arc furnace. And the arc furnace itself uses thousands and thousands of RF a tick. Maybe we'll add a simple thing in between, like the thermoelectric. This is what, Constantin, steel, and light engineering blocks? Yeah. We can add like a dozen thermoelectrics. Each one only produces like 50 RF a tick by default, but 50 RF a tick times, that's 600, right? That should get us to the diesel generator quite comfortably. Thermoelectric generators produce energy based on the temperature difference between 2 of their sides. So if we get these, we want a hot and a cold fluid to provide that temperature difference. What I'm going to do is, for the cold fluid, I'm going to use starlight, liquid starlight. It's extremely cold. I don't know what temperature the game actually considers it to be. I know it's extremely cold. For the hot fluid, I'm going to see if it'll let us use this, the embers, because molten embers are extremely hot. There it is. So 6,300 Kelvin for embers and 120 Kelvin for starlight. That's about the biggest difference you can get. Meanwhile, it appears like I'm out of starlight here. And just in time, too. Perfect stats on this crystal. All right, so what I'm going to do is first refill the starlight here. I probably should set this up manually or automatically, or use like an ender tank for it or something, so I don't have to manually run over 64 buckets of starlight at a time, but whatever. Let's set up our crystal system first then. So what I want is I need one example of a perfectly grown crystal so I can use it to set the item filter here specifically. So now if I get a test, we can place it here about. I don't want the item filter to actually do anything yet. Hold on. So then maybe instead of placing the item filter on a chest, am I allowed to place the item filter on like non-inventories? No. Alright, whatever, I'll deal with it. Place this in if I'm quick enough. No, I wasn't. Because I wasn't quick enough, it picked up all the crystals that were in there. But now that it's filtered, it should not. Let's make sure it has enough range to reach everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's enough. And 1, 2, 3, 4, that's enough. Okay. So now, if a crystal with perfect stats is created, it should get picked up by the item collector. So what I'm going to do is take all of the imperfect ones back out, and then I guess put them back in. I've sharpened a bunch up. Let's actually just set these aside for now and take these that have perfect purity and cutting and get them started. When I throw these in, I do have to be a little careful. I think if in the process of throwing them in, they hit another wall, I'm trying to reproduce it. Sometimes the item gets thrown back into my inventory immediately, and I think that's because it becomes a new item for some reason. There we go, I did it that time. Like, you know how normally when you throw an item on the ground, there's a pickup delay? But if you cause it to hit like a wall in the process, it becomes a new item. It looks like the same item, but becomes a new item and invalidates the pickup delay. Or maybe not, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. In any event, I found that when you throw these into the starlight, if you're not careful and they hit a wall, they sometimes don't get picked up correctly by your item collector at the end. Having thought a bit more about what I literally just said, that makes literally no sense, right? Because the item always hits something, like it hits the grass block at the end of travel. So why does that matter in the slightest? I don't actually know. Historically, I've used drawers here, just a locked drawer as a filter, as opposed to an item filter in the collector. And I found that sometimes it's like it won't pick up your perfect static crystal. In fact, here, let's test it. If I take this and chuck it against that, will it pick it up? No, that is exactly the issue I was observing. Like, it's exactly the item in the filter, right? I can't show you, but if I take the filter out, it'll pick everything up. But like, why isn't it picking up this crystal? However, if I throw the crystal like that, it will pick it up. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, now I'm just a liar. Why don't you pick up the crystal? I don't understand. Yeah, okay, so quite clearly something is still wrong with this. But we saw you pick up the crystal once earlier. Something about the random things item filter doesn't like the way rock crystals or celestial crystals do their thing. So I guess I switched back to my old solution of using a drawer. I'm trying to recreate the issue where if you throw an item in like the right way, it doesn't pick it up, but I can't seem to do it. Maybe it needs to be like in a puddle of starlight. Kinda guessing here. Will you pick that up? No, that is the issue. It should pick this one up. It has exact stats matching. Maybe the fact that it's currently in the process of growing. If I take that out, will you pick it up? No. It's the same item. Why are you so stingy? But that it will. I understand. This is a problem I've had before with this type of crystal growth system. For some reason, every now and then, your pickup system just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to pick it up. Let's try a different item collector. Maybe not the random things one. Are there different filterable hoppers? Could this be filtered? Area of effect, yada yada yada, maybe not. The range collector from actually additions seems to work. It'll pick up the crystals if you drop them. Now I'm a filthy liar. But I don't really care about those. I care about that it'll pick it up when it's in the water. Alright, no, I'm just a dirty, filthy liar. I swear this was working 30 seconds ago. This is a perfect static crystal. I don't... Why do you no work? Pick that up. Pick this up? You won't pick it up in any case now. I don't know what I broke. I'm 300% baffled, but by using both the range collector and the advanced item collector, I'm 99% sure that it'll work sometimes when it feels like it. Which is to say not a lot, but I mean, at this very moment, it's working for... That one didn't even make it into the water. That one's not done yet. But it's working for my test cases. And you know what? If it's working this moment and we just close our eyes, it'll keep working in the future, right? So I'm going to pretend like this is an acceptable solution because I don't feel like tinkering with it anymore. Let's go ahead and set up our thermoelectrics. So I wanted to test, am I allowed to... Oh, I am. Is it hot? No. I mean, it says it's hot, but I can go swimming in it. So it's clearly not that hot. That's all right. Now it's doing something different. The ones that get picked up by the range collector aren't being sent into the drawer. I know how to configure conduits. My conduits aren't configured wrong. 99% sure. I'm going to try putting the conversion upgrade in here because it says it converts compatible items. No, but like if I take the item out by hand, I'm allowed to insert it. Why would you not insert? I don't even care anymore. You can insert them into this chest, and that is fine because it's already past this filter to get picked up, right? So I don't really care where it gets stored. I said this. Now, the game legitimately thinks there's a difference between these items and these items, but they're the same item. Wait, but that doesn't insert either of them? Right? Normally if you have a drawer and you just double right click on it, it inserts items out of your inventory. I'm done trying to understand crystals. We have 10 perfect crystals. That's probably not quite enough for the rest of the game, but it's like, it'll get us halfway there. So I'm going to keep sharpening some more crystals and then just assume it's going to work. And if it doesn't, some of these will split and that's okay. It looks like our 12 thermoelectrics in total provide just over the 1000 RF per tick that our flux ducts can transfer. The transfer limit is per connection, so if I do something like this, I can get more energy in, but then I need 2 connections to get the energy out as well. And something like that. And we also need at least that much load on the other side, but all our load is now off because, here, I guess we can turn these back on, because their buffers are full. So can we, is turning that on enough to see the energy usage here? No. I want to make a energy trash can, but apparently the energy trash can uses a high voltage coil, so like it needs aluminum. So I can't even just use a trash can test it. But it's the total output, it's somewhere just over 1000 RF a tick. Can I reset your MBT data? No, I can't. Dang it. What a pain in the butt. But yeah, point is, thermoelectrics are really good when you have extremely hot and extremely cold fluids. Enough stumbling around aimlessly for now, I think. Let's get back to being productive. So I'm going to make a couple of these igniters. These just light fires. I presume they need a redstone signal to do so. Oh, that goes to the quest. These can be used to, yeah, that'll do. These can be used to automate the production of infinity dust, which is going to be used a lot more going forward, I think. So 4 of these, let's say a couple ender chests, you can transport them home, and an item collector to pick up the infinity dust. Igniters have 2 modes, ignite mode and keep or 3 modes. Toggle, ignite, keep ignited. We want it on ignite mode, so that when it receives a redstone pulse, it will light the bedrock in front of it on fire, like that. I have a timer set to 400 ticks, that's 20 seconds to ignite them. I found that if I'm consistently ticking it, I think it reignites the fire, and the chance of getting a Grains of Infinity is based on how long the fire has been burning when it goes out. So if you're constantly reigniting it, you are constantly resetting that timer. So 400 seconds I haven't tested, might even be a little short. Let that for 600 seconds. But anyways, there we go. Grains of Infinity come out. I'm going to put it into this triple white under chest, because triple white is typically what I use for like import into storage. So now if we put the other one up here somewhere, and I'm sure there's a item import cable, storage import cable. Take one of these, put you here. And that should import the items. Set it to an empty block list. And it'll import the items. No. It clearly doesn't like that. Why is that? Hello? Works fine without the importer. As soon as I put the importer on, it breaks. So you know what, next best thing, we'll just leave it alone and manually empty out the under chest every, you know, it probably takes it like multiple hours to fill this thing. So I'll just manually empty it from time to time. So anyways, that is Grains of Infinity more or less automated. Next up, let's go ahead and make ourselves a crusher. Now that we have the power to run it, a crusher will be a cool thing that'll let us, it'll enable us to ore double a little bit easier than with the high oven, because the high oven, you know, it requires quite a bit of babysitting, and the crusher can also turn ingots into dusts more easily than grinding them or grindstoning them. Much as before, I've gathered all the components for a crusher and then jammed it into a capsule. And is that the right way? No, I think I want it turned around 90 degrees. So left click twice. Or turn around 180 degrees. There we go. Because I think this is the output, right? I mean, I guess if I wanted the other way, I could just tear it down. There we go. So yeah, that looks like the output to me. The crusher automatically outputs to there, and I'm told that there's a way you can. So I know for sure you can throw items in the top of the crusher to input them. But there we go. Some people have told me that you can pipe items in just via conduits. And there's like a magic block there that accepts it. The quest does give you like conveyor belt to literally drop items in, but if this works, that's just easier, right? So let's try that. If I put some lead in there, yeah, that pipes it into the crusher, and I assume that stuff is. Oh yeah, I have flight. I guess you don't get to see it. All right, whatever. Plug it in. Its power port is here. Flying's cool, I guess. And the crusher gets to work. So the crusher is quite clearly buffed. It is much faster than it normally is. Wait. That bar feels like it's going by faster though. Maybe not. No, I think this is still faster than normal, though not quite as much as like in Enigmatica 2 Expert. So this is right now our best ore processing. It guarantees doubling, and it has a chance for a byproduct. So I threw lead in there, right? The chance byproduct is silver. It seems like it does not use so much energy that my energy can't keep up either. Woohoo! Alright, so that's the crusher. Next up, tier 2 blood altar. To make that, I need blank runes. That looks like blank runes are made from crushed slate, and this is made by crushing, well, slate. Who'd have thought, right? So I guess that's why we needed the crusher. We can't turn blank slates into runes directly, can we? No. Okay. Given that, then it's 6. So that's what, 3 blank slates to a regular blank rune. I think for now I'm just gonna poke my fingers with a sacrificial dagger. I don't have a great way of getting regen, so I'm just gonna eat food. That is why I took the increased healing points in Astral Sorcery. I'm kind of hoping that that increases the healing I get just from having saturation. If it doesn't work out, I have some plans to get at least regen 1, but I don't have a good way to get regen 3 yet, I think. Anyways, we'll give it a shot, and if needed, we'll implement planned regen. Unfortunately, Biomes of Plenty isn't in the pack for spring water, which I've discovered is by far the best source of regen. So if I just put Arcane Stone in here, it will, over time, turn into Blank Slate, and there's our first one. Takes 1,000 LP to do each. So I want to come up with a system that will feed 1 Arcane Stone in at a time, until... and selectively withdraw the blank slates when it's done. And I want it to only do so when there's life essence in the blood altar. If you pipe items in with automation, there's nothing stopping you from inserting the entire stack of stone. You can't do so by hand, but if you do it with like coppers or whatever, it'll accept the entire stack. And then if you give it an entire stack, it'll try to process it all in parallel, which causes it to take a, well, it doesn't quite do it in parallel. It doesn't process any faster. So I guess it's more like it does it all in series, but you don't get the results until it's done with all of them. So there's relatively little reason to pipe in more than 1 item at a time. Technically speaking, there is a benefit, and that is that by piping in multiple items at a time, you skip this little bit of time before and after, where if you look carefully, when I first put this item in, it doesn't start crafting immediately. There's like a very short delay. You skip that item, or you skip that delay per item, and it becomes per stack. But unless you're doing extremely high throughput stuff, it doesn't matter. So anyways, let me come up with a way to insert and extract single items. I'll follow the questbook's recommendation here and use a retriever. The retriever can be configured to 1 item. So it'll only at any point take 1 item out of this chest and store it into the blood altar. And then on the other side, I'll use a servo just because that can quite easily be filtered. So we will go from there into another output chest and filter you for blank slates. And that'll store them in here. There we go. So that'll automatically pull in, I do have to turn you on. That'll automatically pull in the Arcane Stone, drop it into the blood altar, let it get crafted. Why are you not doing it? Reinforced servo, ignored, blank slate. I went on a whitelist mode. There we go. So all I have to do is keep this thing supplied with life essence or blood, and it'll craft. With the thunderstorm right now. The issue is that if it ever runs out of life essence, it'll try to craft, but it'll pull an item in, and then the craft will fail, and it'll slowly drain life essence while not actually doing anything. So what I want to do is come up with a system that detects when the life essence gets low, and that'll turn off or supply a redstone signal, depending on how we configure this, to the retriever to turn it to disable the item insertion. A couple ways to do it. First of all, you can do it pure vanilla. Let's just do it that way, baby. A comparator connected to the blood altar will output a redstone signal proportional to how full it is. The other way that I was thinking is to use a... By the way, my regen, I think, looked very fast there. To use a liquid monitor from RF Tools, this thing can just, you can configure to say if there is more or less than X% fluid in a tank, then emit a redstone signal, or don't emit a redstone signal, or whatever. We can make machine frames. They're not like that difficult. It's 18 thaumium. These are basically 1 ingot each, so it's 18 ingots of thaumium per frame. But these are useful. Let's just make a couple RF Tools machine frames. Have I made thaumium yet? I don't think so, actually. I'm going to use Greatwood logs to provide the precantatio and dirt to provide the terra. And there's going to be quite a bit of leftovers, so let's make sure to... Oh, looks like I haven't made it yet based on the fact that we just got the quest. Yeah, it's gonna be quite a bit of leftovers, so let's make sure to clean it up well. Apparently there were 2 thaumium quests. And I guess that's that. We do get 2 thaumium per ore each outcome, so it's a pretty good deal. I was actually originally going to make the thaumium seed, but seeing as how easy this is to make, maybe we can skip this seed. Although I think it's only a tier 3, right? Yeah, let's make the thaumium seed anyways. And as before, we'll schedule it to be leveled up to max stats. I have quite a few seeds that I've leveled up. I still have to set up an actual proper farm. Right now I'm just using like the other half of our leveling tier as a farm and periodically collecting some of these. It's not very efficient. It's almost slower than just going to mine for the resources probably, but whatever. Eventually I've got, you know, a bunch of these seeds. I think everything in this chest here is already maxed, but yeah, we'll put it to use later. Even for now, you get what, 3 thaumium essence per? It's 2 essence to 1 ingot. So like for now, harvesting thaumium is probably slower than just growing it or making it in the crucible. Whatever. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be a capsule blueprint, whatever, for this one, so we'll just have to build it the old-fashioned way. And it's always slightly unclear where things go when you build it the old-fashioned way. Oh, I'll also have to turn my lapis into hitless. Pew. And we can fly back to our roof. Haha. Did I get it right? Looks like I did. Cool. I'll make a couple of these frames for now. I mean, I only had the thaumium to make 2, so I guess 2 is our starting point. 1 will be our liquid monitor. I'm sure I could come up with something clever for the other one. I kind of... You know what? Let's, once we build our liquid monitor, let's take a little detour. I kind of want to try something cheeky. The liquid monitor works by looking at any block adjacent to it, including on the diagonals, and it emits a redstone signal out the backside. So I want the redstone to control that, which means I need it to emit that way. And you see there's a little arrow there. So you pick the blood altar, you say the alarm level, 30%, and send a redstone signal when it is greater than 30% full. Yes. We will set you to require a redstone signal to run now. So if I drain some of my blood into it, and I have a lot of blood to go around nowadays with all the Astral Sorcery Hearts, because it's over 30%, it'll suck in a new item. But when this gets below 30%, let's temporarily bump this up, 52%. So it'll craft this item. It should still have more than 52%, so it'll suck in another item. And then this time, it'll drop below 52%. You see that turned off, and it won't suck in another item. Perfect. So because right now I'm only crafting something that uses 10% of the mana pool to craft, we can set it to 11, and it'll guarantee that if it pulls in a new item, there's enough blood in the altar to craft it. All right, now let's try our cheeky thing. I want to make a scanner, what's it called? Storage monitor. There we go. No? It's a storage block from RF Tools. This is it, the storage scanner. And with this, I'm going to first charge it up. It requires a little bit of RF to run as an internal buffer 50,000, but it hardly uses any. What it does is it can look at nearby inventories and remotely pull items out of them. And I'm going to use this to be a cheeky little brat, and it'll steal the items from that dungeon there without having to go inside of it. We'll see if it works. If the items are in lootable chests, this will work. If the items are like you have to break a block to get it, this won't. So I don't actually know how those are implemented. So we'll find out in just a second, I guess. All right, let's try going in from above. The maximum range of the scanner is 20 blocks, so you do have to be able to get within 20 blocks of the chest. But hey, look how we did it. We can see all the inventories. It's probably easiest just to go through them one by one. Look at that, we got some flesh. This loot is kind of underwhelming. But I guess I'm stealing it, so I can't really complain. Anyways, I'm gonna go through here and see if there's anything actually worth my time to steal. But so far, it looks like a no. That was a bit of a disappointment, honestly. I got 2 flesh, a heart, some blood, iron dragon armor. I guess it's like for the dragon to wear. But even if this didn't work out this time, we have our storage scan now. Now we can use it to remote loot basically anything that we can get close to. So I don't know if it'll work. Like, there's sometimes treasure chests under these, but these treasure chests are locked. Yeah. So we can, I guess, use it to find the chest, but they're typically not. The loot in those isn't good enough that I really care. But you know, it was worth a shot. I'm sure we can come up with better uses for this technology somewhere down the line. Getting back to making those blank slates now, I'm going to, or blank runes, I'm going to set up a second squeezer dedicated for making these because I don't want to have to share with the squeezer that's making the plant oil because, well, that one's going to be full of items all the time. So take our slates, I've already crushed them, throw them into the industrial squeezer where they get squeezed. It does produce a fluid output, refined life essence. I don't much care for fine life essence, I think. So I'm just gonna, oh, I got my outputs mixed up. Whoopsies. Fluid, for some reason I thought this was fluid output, that was item output. It's the other way around. This one's fluid output, and that one's item output, and I voided all the slates. So I'm gonna have to make a few more. My bad. Let's try that again, this time without voiding all the output. So the runes should come into here. There we go. And then the fluid gets voided because I still don't care about refined life essence. It might be useful later, but we'll make it later when we need it. Cool. So the quest book does tell us that we'll need a lot of this slate stuff, so we should automate it soon. And I will once we get a little bit higher tier in with our blood altars. Basically, I don't really want to do it when I have to like prick my fingers for blood, but later when we can automate the production of blood, then that seems like a reasonable time to automate the production of these runes as well. Anyways, right now our blood altar is tier 1. To get it to tier 2, we have to swap out, can I safely vein mine this? I think so. We have to swap out those 8 blocks for runes of any type. Blank runes don't have any effect other than leveling up our altar, but that's all we can make for now. So blank runes it is. And now our altar is tier 2. We need a divination sigil, I believe, to actually be able to see that. But we should be able to make one of these now. I think the arcane ashes is a bit of a thing, but now that we have crushed slate, we can craft it. So let's make a divination sigil, confirm that our altar is tier 2, and I'll put some more arcane stone in there to start processing. The recipe for arcane ashes uses 200 vis, which is quite a bit, but we're in a magical forest, so we have a 5% discount, presumably from our goggles. So that brings it down to 190, makes the ashes. To use the ashes, all we have to do is click it on the ground anywhere, and we have to click the redstone and then the slate, and it consumes both of them, I believe. I'm not actually 100% sure what order it's supposed to go in, whether it was redstone then slate or slate then redstone. But it does a thing, spits out a divination sigil, and apparently we got the order right. When we just right-click with the sigil, it tells us the amount of LP in our life essence network. This is consumed to do these rituals. So we're at 1392, 1292. 100 per make it nighttime. Not a bad deal. But more importantly, if we use it to right-click on a blood altar, it'll tell us some more information about the altar. First of all, we get more information in the tooltip. It straight up says it's tier 2, but if we right-click it, I guess it doesn't tell us anything extra. It's all in the tooltip. But yeah, now we have the tier 2 altar. We can do tier 2 things with it, which is make the Starlight Crafting altar. Why does this need tier 2 altar? Doesn't. I'm not quite sure why this needs a tier 2 altar. But let's make a runic altar real quick. I see. We don't actually need the tier 2 altar, but we do need to be able to make blank runes. And if we're making blank runes, you may as well make the tier 2 altar. Because technically, the quest doesn't require you to make the tier 2 altar. It just makes you make blank runes. Makes sense. Anyways, we first have to craft the shipping star. Don't accidentally right-click this. It'll reset all of your skill points. Don't know how one would accidentally do it, but it would be bad. Anyways, this then makes our runic altar, but I think we're out of time today, so we'll automate the runic altar, or at least start using the runic altar tomorrow. It's not terribly difficult to automate, and it is a little bit annoying to manually use, so we'll probably at least stick some amount of automation on it. It does need mana to operate, so I'll put it near our mana. We'll blast it with mana spreaders. But the next step is to make runes so that we can make the tier 2 blood orb. Anyways, that'll be a project for tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.